AMD, Pat. This I know you love AMD. I love to talk about AMD. So let's talk AMD. And for everyone out there, Pat was one of the youngest VPs in AMD history. It's an unknown fact maybe to some of our 6'5" community, but this was back when you were my age.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it was almost a decade ago, but I was a corporate vice president at AMD, ran product marketing, product management, ran channel marketing, created the first global channel marketing group, and ran corporate strategy for client devices. But let's jump into AMD. AMD had a phenomenal 2020, as you can see, increasing 45%. I mean, it's hard for me to find any weaknesses in the year and in the quarter. I think everybody would have liked a little bit more epic, but they gained a tremendous amount of market share in notebooks, and they gained a tremendous amount of market share in desktops. It doesn't mean that they didn't gain market share in servers. They did. It was just a lot more pronounced. Let's move into the quarter here. Again, deep double digit, 53% growth in the fourth quarter here. Also, not only hitting the canvas off the ball with revenue, but also in profitability. Look at the gains in profitability that they had. Just incredible. Cash flow. I mean, this is a company that's hitting on all cylinders right now. At this point, by the way, I will add, Intel did claw back some client market share for the quarter, but overall, AMD was up around 6 points. I think moving into 2021, AMD has got to get more supply. AMD can sell more. They just can't supply it because of the shortcomings at TSMC. What I do expect is a little better management cross vendor between TSMC and Samsung. I think maybe even AMD was surprised at the level of success they had, and just didn't plan ahead as much as I think they could have.
It's a good point. And when we talk about Qualcomm, there's going to be a similar discussion there. It seems right now that chips are eating the world. We've been saying that for a year. It's not going to change in 2021. But the companies that are fabless or that are limited in terms of internal production and dependent completely on external fabs are seeing some headwinds in terms of the ability to meet demand, which is a great sign. Demand planning is not necessarily something that was failed upon, but the actual demand was better than these companies even expected, which is something very, very promising. Pat, you hit the numbers pretty well. I did want to touch on the Mercury Research data that recently came out. It did show Intel for the first time, I think in 8 quarters, showing a slight recapture of market share. But overall, I mean, it was an absolute blowout year for AMD. I mean, the earnings were well above year over year for the year, for the quarter over quarter. The revenue is up substantially. And by the way, the interesting thing about the year over year, Pat, is, I've been critical, written a number of Market Watch pieces criticizing the sometimes as high as 160 times trailing earnings that AMD's price action has seen. But based upon its earnings this year, which I think came in a little over $1.20 a share for the full year, they're starting to get more in line with where these highly valued tech stocks are, 40 to 50 times. I know it's a little technical on the equity side. We're industry guys, but that stuff, I like that stuff. Values getting in line. The other thing, Pat, that I really do think, we need to pay attention to is the EPYC side of the business and the kind of ongoing saga with the NVIDIA. The x86 landscape as a whole is going to have to pay attention next year. You've got M1, you've got what's going on with NVIDIA ARM and more companies making variants of PCs. And so not only will it be AMD competing with Intel, but it's going to be a whole new set of players if that deal gets done, which new headwinds with EU scrutiny today. Now, as a part of our live element, we've been bringing in external questions. So, we had one that just popped up on the screen. Love to address it really quickly from Tom Price. He said, should AMD be concerned about current tensions among China, Taiwan, and U.S. since TSMC is their primary fab? I touched on this with Qualcomm, but Pat, I'll let you touch on this for AMD.
Yeah, I think they should be, and they are, just like NVIDIA is in the same spot, or Xilinx, who's very heavily weighted to TSMC. We've seen TSMC make, I would say, a slight move in Arizona with a fab they're building there. And for everything I understand is that Samsung is planning on building a leading edge 3 nanometer facility in Austin, Texas. So short answer is yes. And if Intel were delivering as scheduled, I don't think there would be as much discussion about this, especially with the dialogue about this notion of Intel getting out of fab, splitting it from design, and letting everybody get access to their fabs. And we can maybe touch on that when we talk about AMD. But thanks for the question.